Hey everyone, it's Dana Wild with the Mind Aware, and I'm so excited to talk to you today because I have the most amazing woman for you to meet. Her name is Edie Anne Cote. She's out in Maine, and we've been talking about our winter and the snowfall and the breaking ice and all this good stuff. But most importantly, today we are going to talk to you about how she has been using Train Your Brain and the Brain Overhaul to build her business. She's just been doing an amazing job. She is an independent Scentsy Family director, and her team, I mean, she started out, she went like 0 to $500,000 in 6 months, and wait till we hear what she did beyond that. So welcome, Edie. Great to have you here.
Hey,
Hi.
thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
I'm so excited too, and this is so nice because you're so easy to talk to, and I love that about you, Edie. And so let's start out. Maybe let's take everybody back to when you first started doing this mindset work, like before you heard about Train Your Brain or anything. What was your business like? What was your life like? Can you remember? Can you even get your mindset back into that?
I can, unfortunately. It's funny because I think we all kind of go through these phases in our life where it kind of ebbs and flows. Things are good, things are bad. And I really remember how it was before. And I think it was because it was such a negative place in my life. There were many things that we won't go into today, but just bad choices based on bad mindset because I didn't understand that I had control over that. I didn't realize that I had choices to make. And my favorite saying was, oh, look at the bad hand I was dealt.
Yeah.
And that was now I know what it is, but that was the mantra that I fed myself almost every day because of everything that I went through, from relationships to business to lack of business to bouncing from job to job, and it fit what I was doing because that's what I was saying to myself.
Wow, that's so interesting that I love how you said that actually was your mantra. Look at the bad hand I was dealt. You know what it reminds me of? What you're saying is it's almost like running on automatic pilot. And we often talk about, because, my company's name is The Mind Aware, and Train Your Brain's part of that really, it kind of starts with awareness, doesn't it? It starts with getting yourself out of that automatic pilot, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. Because you think that your everyday choices are made by other people, and so we run with it, and we just go, and we react rather than, prepare.
Yeah. Boy, this is good. Edie, you have no idea. Like, everything out of your mouth ends up being a nugget. This is so good because that's it. Instead of running in reactionary mode, being proactive, preparing, getting more aware. And so let's talk about how you first came across Train Your Brain specifically, because I know you actually started out first with Train Your Brain and then you kind of leveled up to the Brain Overhaul. So when you first found Train Your Brain, how'd you stumble across it?
Well, first of all, it goes even further back than that because I found you on the Mind Aware series, which is
right.
way back.
Right.
And I think I was in series 2 when I caught up with you. So you've been around for a while. But it was honestly, and I always have been, I am a sponge for knowledge and education.
I love that.
So I'm constantly looking for new things. My problem always was that I never implemented anything I learned.
Mm-hmm.
So I found you, I listened to the recordings, I met new people, and it was kind of a aha moment when most of the people that I listened to, whether it was you or people that you interviewed, had a common denominator. And that was how they were thinking and how they were processing their choices and their thoughts. And I thought, boy, am I missing the boat? Did I miss the boat? And that's when I started really following you and found out that you had this amazing program called Train Your Brain. And I thought, that's the piece that I'm missing. That's the part that I have alienated because, one, it scared me. Mm-hmm. Because I didn't understand it. And when you don't understand something, it scares you, right? So I fell into it through your interviews of other people. And I'll tell you, It's not been the same since.
Oh, that's so great. Isn't it great? Well, you know, and I want to give you credit here because it's one thing, you said a really key thing about implementing it. You know, it's one thing to hear information, but you really, I mean, you grabbed hold of this and you have really been saying, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to change my thinking and then look at the results I get, what happens. And so do you remember those early days when you started training your brain? Was there any mantra or any kind of thoughts that came to mind that you said, I'm going to try this one and see what happens?
Funny enough, yes. And it will stick in my mind forever because I think it's the funnest mantra I've ever had. I watched the movie The Secret, and one of the, and it goes all within what you talk about and what you coach and teach and express. And I thought, you know, this is kind of a hokey pokey kind of thing. I don't understand it. I don't get it. Let's watch the movie. Okay. Well, let's just try a mantra and see what happens. And my mantra was, I have presents and money in my mailbox every day.
Oh, that's a good one. I like
and
that
I thought,
one.
Yeah, right. Okay, that's really going to happen. So, like, the first couple days, nothing happened. And the problem was I wasn't going to the mailbox. Someone else was. That's what I figured out. As soon as I started going to the mailbox, honestly, 5 out of the 7 days, I would get a present from somebody.
Wow.
There was some kind of check, whether it was a payment or just a thank you, or I'm going to pay you for some product that I bought, whatever. I don't care what it was. Then I realized that the big coupons that companies send you, like the big 75% off, that's money.
Oh, you bet.
And so I was starting to connect with all this and be accepting of what was coming, and I'm telling you, it hasn't stopped.
And you know what's interesting too? Say the mantra again, because I know everybody listening is going to be like, "Could you repeat that, please?" Because
yeah. I find prizes and money in my mailbox every day.
I love that one. It's such a fun one, too.
And you know what? Or not prizes, I'm sorry, gifts. I find gifts and money in my mailbox every day. The gifts are the best ones.
Oh,
love them.
Gosh. I love it. Well, and what happens is people, sometimes it sounds so hokey pokey, you know, or fooey hooey. I don't know what words I'm looking for when you talk about this stuff. But what happens is that your reticular activating system in your brain, it gets so much more aware of what's around you. And you start to see these things come into your awareness. So it feels like magic sometimes, but the reality is it's almost like you get more appreciative or something.
The gratefulness has to be part of it. And that's something that I have truly learned more than anything. And that you will always receive when you're grateful.
Yeah, yeah.
And I truly believe that once you have switched your mindset to be accepting, you know, when you find that penny on the ground, pick it up.
Yeah.
Because you're accepting it into your life. And so now you've opened up a completely different area of something where you would, you know, I don't know, it's okay. You don't need to give me any money. I'm okay. No, thank you. Yeah. You know, be accepting and grateful and then appreciative. Because those steps will open up the doors even more. And I really, really, really believe that the gratefulness is a huge part of it. You can change your mindset. You can say your mantras. But if you have absolutely no gratefulness for it, it will shut off as quick as it started.
It's so true, like that appreciation. Well, you know, part of the whole program is understanding how the brain works. And so when you understand how the brain works and you hear these sayings like, what you focus on grows, it explains why that happens. And that's why what you're saying hits true. When you focus on what's coming to you and you focus on appreciation, now you get more and more things to appreciate, you know, and it's based in brain science. I mean, there's a reason for why all this stuff comes. So then you started having all these successes, like your team, you went to 500,000 really, really quickly, didn't you?
We did. And you know, it's funny because I sold for a different company for 12 years.
Oh, wow.
Pre-train your brain.
Wow.
And I really believe that if I'd had the skills with my own mind, that the same success that I'm having now would have happened then.
Yeah, yeah.
But with 12 years, I got nothing. I mean, there was no growth, there was no potential, and it's the same person. So that's what I always try to tell people, is the same person was leading that team, doing that business as it is now, and there was 2 totally different results. Why? Because my mindset was completely different. That's what I truly believe.
I couldn't agree more. What's so funny about it was I was going to say it's actually a different you. You know, a different you showed up for this. It's the same person, but you're right. A whole different you is showing up for this business and this team because you are in a different place and you have different expectations. So then when you leveled up, you went to the next level and you invested in the Brain Overhaul. What made you do that? And kind of tell us a little bit about that journey and how it's working out for you.
Yeah, and Dana, I'm not sure if you remember how hesitant I was on that one.
I didn't. I don't.
You don't?
No, I don't.
Let me share.
Yes, let's hear.
I thought I knew it all. I thought I knew what I needed to do. I thought I knew what I had to do. I thought I understood the reasoning behind it. And you did mention something earlier that I think was big for me, and that there is a scientific meaning behind this, that it's not that hooey-pooey that everybody thinks. And the part that I was missing when you introduced the Brain Overhaul was, we're going to do it again. I've listened to your CDs 6 times. Why would I need to do it again? And I was pleasantly surprised. There was accountability part that I wasn't prepared for. And I was pleasantly surprised because what I found out is that, in my opinion, the Train Your Brain is how to. What you need to do to get your mindset in a place where you can grow, where you can change in a positive way, and you can have the things that you want in your life. But the Brain Overhaul was the implementation part of it. And I didn't realize that at first because I thought I knew it all. And what it gave to me was that application part that we most miss. So you can go into Train Your Brain and learn all of the keys of how to and why, and learn to do the mantras in the right language and all of those things. But then you go to the Brain Overhaul and let's apply it.
Very nice.
Let's create some goals. Let's apply it into our lives. Let's see the results. And that was the biggest difference. And I'll tell you, I believe that is the key that I didn't know I was missing. Because, again, I thought I knew it all. But it put into place some tools and some actions that I was missing.
You're so coachable, Edie. I love that about you. You're so willing to really take that next step, and you're so coachable. I mean, that's such a great quality that you have. It's funny because as you're talking, I'm thinking it's almost like the difference between listening to a tape for how to learn Spanish and you pick up a few phrases as opposed to living in Spain, where you're so immersed in it. And that's what I hear you saying is it gives you that opportunity. And you're right. You're there with other people who are doing it. You've got that community. I mean, you're a rock star. Everybody knows you in the group. It's really neat to be in there playing with other people who get this stuff at this level, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Very,
absolutely.
Very good.
Absolutely. And I think the accountability is always going to be a key factor for anything that you're learning. So when you're in school, when you're learning on your own and being a past teacher, I understand that. You have to be held accountable whether you're teaching it or learning it. And that's the piece that was not there in Train Your Brain, that the Brain Overhaul really, solidified. So,
yeah, it's fantastic.
Thank you for pushing me to do it.
Yeah, I'm so glad you did because you're just, like I say, such a great example. And what's fun, too, I noticed, because you're at a level in your business now where, you want to have people who are at your level to play with and maybe people who you can learn from and you can teach them. And it's a really nice community. And then that, it's not just like people in your company. You've got people from all these different companies who are all rocking their business at such a high level. So it really gives you an opportunity to learn from the best of the best in every industry, right?
Absolutely. Oh, I love the community because, there's a networking aspect of it that allows us to definitely learn from other people and what they're going to experience, whether it be in their home life or their business life, is not going to be what I experience, but having the ability to learn from their experience and add it to my bucket per se it just makes you a much better person. I mean, it makes you a more accessible person. It makes you a more knowledgeable person that you can pass on. You know, and one of the things that I have recently put through my head and learned is that, you know, the universe, God, whatever you want to call on, doesn't give you anything, one that you can't handle, but one that he doesn't feel you can turn around and teach to somebody else. So I feel that all the experience that we've ever had in our lives is what allows us to teach others. So in a community like ours, on Facebook or face-to-face, and believe it or not, I have talked to many people in our group on the phone.
Oh, that's so cool.
It is cool because I would never have met these people, you know, so just that in itself is awesome.
That is.
And then you add the training on top of it, and it's just frosting right on that cake.
Yay. That's so good.
But yeah, we learn from each other, and it's awesome. It's great.
That is. That's so good. You know, you kind of touched on something a second ago, too, where you said something like how it applies in your business and your life. Do you see that this shift in thinking you've been having as you've been getting more aware and training your brain more and understanding more about, you know, why it's important to have a positive mindset, has it made a difference in your personal life in addition to your business life?
I'm going to say that having it in your personal life is what will allow it to be in any other part of your life. And if I have seen any changes, it's been mostly in my personal life, which has then just bled into my business, into my relationships, that kind of thing. You know, as I mentioned before, I was a really negative person. I did not understand the ability that I had. I was told often that I didn't have ability. So you learn to believe what you hear. And that's what I played out, and that's the story that I had in my life for many, 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 many years. So for me, the benefit, puppy.
That's okay. No, that's okay. That's all right.
Can you hear her?
Yes, you bet. That's all right. It makes you more human.
Okay. I feel that it has helped me more in my personal life than anything else. And it has allowed me to be a better leader. It's allowed me to be a better coach, a better person for my clients, for my customers, as well as my kids. My kids, I know, have seen a huge difference because Mom was a yeller. Mom could not handle stress because the story that she kept telling herself over and over again was that I had no idea what I was doing and that I could not do these things. So knowing that I have the ability to make those choices and to change the story that I've been telling myself has made the world of difference. So can it help in business? Absolutely. But it's going to help you personally first. That's how I feel.
Wow, that's so powerful. I mean, everything you just said is just so powerful and such an inspiration to people. I mean, it's so fun just to be happy, isn't it?
Oh my God.
To feel good. I mean, what a concept. Oh my gosh, I can actually live life and feel good on a day-to-day basis. That's exciting.
You're right. You're right. And you know, it's funny, one key element, and it's all in the story that you tell. You ask my mother anytime, I was not a smiler. It was embarrassing for me to smile because it was part of my mindset that I was just shut down. And now
I know. It's
you can have it all.
It's incredible. It's like I would never even believe all this of you, Edie, because it's like night and day. It's amazing. So let's give a little bit of a report in on the business side of it too, because you've really come a long way. I mean, your team is rocking. You've got, can you tell us a little bit about where you're at now in your business and just share it?
First of all, I became a director in 9 months. So it was a very quick journey. And that was at the very beginning of Train Your Brain. And actually, that was partially part of the Mind Aware series. So I was already making some shifts in myself that had nothing to do with my team. So then when I learned that I could actually pass this information on to my team, and some have taken it, some haven't. And I'm okay with that because I understand where I was and how I was resistant to a lot of things. And I know that once they start seeing people change, that they'll want to implement it as well. So, yes, so we went very quickly to 500,000. And that was within the first 6-9 months. And now we've hit 1 million, and we are, but understanding, very, very much, understanding that the process was a little bit slower only because of the way that our team grew. And so for me, I feel like our team is much more solid than any of the ones that are just going to fall off.
Right.
And they all implement, even if it's just a smidgen of what I've learned in their business, and they're starting to see the results. And I know that the next time we talk in a year or two, that it will have quadrupled, because more people will be implementing it and less people will think it's hooey-fooey stuff.
Listen to this great story that you're telling. Do you hear this? Yeah. Do you hear what you're doing? I mean, look at how you're training your brain right here, right now. You're totally going, here's where I'm at. Here's where I see myself being. I mean, and it's so obvious that you're feeling it from the inside. This isn't like you're just a robot saying some affirmations. I mean, you have really got this. It's so in you now, right?
Yes, and I'm going to share another aha moment that I had that I would love everybody to take part in, is the fact that what you just said is so absolutely true. You can rattle off a mantra, you can rattle off an affirmation, but if there's no ounce of understanding it or believing it, it takes longer.
Yeah.
So as soon as you put the heart into it, the more it's going to fester and happen. And one of the things that I was taught probably about, I want to say about 1.5 years, almost 2 years ago. And it was, you always have that little negative Nelly that sits on your shoulder that says, yeah, okay, Edie, that's really not going to happen. So you say those mantras and then this one says, oh, well, I don't think so. But what I learned is that when you say the mantra and that little person starts to poo-poo on you, you turn around and say, but you know what? It's possible.
I love that.
And as soon as you say it, you feel the difference. And that's all, because we all know it's possible.
Exactly.
So as long as we can get to that point where the shift of feeling is inside of you, that's what changed it for me. That is so what changed it for me. Because when I had someone say, well, yeah, okay, Edie, you're going to get gifts in your mailbox every day. And my response, but it's possible.
Oh, that's so good.
It makes a difference.
Oh, yeah. And there are people, you can take that away. They're going to love that. You're going to be able to use that right now, everyone. Are you hearing this? It's so good. I love this, Edie. Fantastic. So on that note, do you want to just leave people with any other nugget before we say goodbye? Is there any other kind of tip that you want to say, hey, here's the ticket, just before we say goodbye to everybody?
I think the biggest, besides that, I think that has been a tool for me to use to get past those feelings of hesitation. So the it's possible is huge for me.
Great.
The other one that I think that everybody needs to know and understand is what I learned, and it took me 20 years to learn it, is that the story that you tell yourself about yourself is what you will believe. If you want the story to change, then you have to change it yourself.
That's exactly right. Nobody can think inside your head. You're the only one that can think inside your head. That's just beautiful, Edie. I love it. And don't you just feel, everyone, after hearing this, don't you just feel like this is so easy and that you can do this? And Edie, thank you so much for taking time and talking with us, because you are a living, breathing, shining example. You're doing it. You're walking it. And just like, we love having you here, and we love being able to connect with you in this way. For those of you who'd like more information, I'm going to include a link right here below the video. So you're going to be able to click on it, check it out, get more into what we're talking about. But thank you again, Edie. This has been so fun.
And thank you for having me. Yay! Doing this has been one of my mantras.
It's because you're a rock star. I love it. Well, great. Thanks, everybody. And we'll see you again really soon.
Bye. Thank you.